You are tuned into the Guyer Football Radio Network. This is the Coach Rodney Webb Show, brought to you by BudBartleyHomes.com, Marty B's, the law office of Kimberly N. Shanklin, Cloud Realty, and patrons of the show. I'm John Piper, and you can subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, and the iHeartRadio app to get the Coach Rodney Webb Show and Guyer Football Radio all season long. We're now joined by head coach Rodney Webb. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, John. I'm doing great. You know, it's playoff season, and we're still suiting up and getting after it. So life is good.
Playoff week is always special. Every team starts a clean slate, 0-0, and it's a sprint. It's a fast sprint, Coach, to AT&T Stadium for the Texas high school football postseason, where every coach, every kid wants to get at the end of the year. And normally you say at the end of the year, but this year it'll be in January, which is a little unusual. Is there any different vibe in the field house this week? I probably know the answer to that question, but I'll let you share with our audience.
Well, there's always an excitement that comes along with playoff season. And so, you know, a different vibe from the standpoint that, you know, we're all excited about this opportunity this week and hopefully beyond. I will say this, though, you know, our kids have such an even keel. You know, we're not riding an emotional roller coaster each week around here. So, you know, our kids there's a little bit more pep in their step this week, but, you know, it's business as usual for them as well.
Coach Webb, a little unusual having the final week of the regular season off, but this must help your Wildcats since you've been a little banged up this season. And also you're able to send more coaches to scout Coppell in their final season win over the Flower Mound Jaguars.
Yeah, it's you know, it's kind of a blessing and a curse both to have the final regular season week as your open week. It's not so good in week 5 and week 6 in the middle of the grind when a lot of other teams are getting that opportunity. You know, you kind of hate it early in the season, but then when you finally get to week 11 and you have an opportunity to take a week off before the playoffs, it's always good. One downside to it is that, you know, my last 2 years in Rockwall, we were open during week 11 as well. And in neither of those years nor this year have we known who our opponent was going to be in by district. So you spend the open week preparing for multiple opponents, and then you go out and you have to scout multiple opponents on that Friday night. So from that standpoint, it's not great, but, you know, it has given us the opportunity to kind of refill our tanks a little bit and get a little bit more healthy.
Well, Coach, you know, unfortunately, it was finally announced, actually, I think by Deuce himself on Twitter, that he's out for the season. Perhaps some miracle, he comes back for maybe the championship game. Dotun's out for a couple weeks. Defensive nose tackle, been splitting time there. You know, big losses on the defensive side of the ball. What adjustments do you need to make as we go into this postseason defensively? You know, to have an impact on that side of the ball?
Well, you know, Deuce's injury is you know, he's a great player, not just a great player defensively, but a tremendous special teams guy, best returner, maybe the best returner in the state, and a guy that was in the process of getting a lot more volume of work on offense. So, you know, we're certainly going to miss him, but hey, it's part of the game. It's football, and you have to deal with that. And we're not ever going to sit around and feel sorry for ourselves. It's next man up. And Ryan Yates is now our starting corner, and he's got tremendous upside. Just a sophomore, a tall, athletic kid that's going to be the next great one here. So we're excited about having Ryan and the opportunity that he's going to bring to us. So it's just part of it. You know, Deuce has the lower back injury that thankfully is not serious. It's not career threatening, but it is going to be something that's going to take about 3 months to fully heal. So, you know, there's not a chance that Deuce is going to be back during the playoffs. Dotun, we're optimistic about. Dotun is a guy that you know, is going to be out a few more weeks, but we're hoping, Lord willing, we're still playing here in a couple of weeks, and we think we might get him back.
Yeah. You mentioned the excitement that Deuce brought to a couple big returns this year, and I'm sure you had some big plans for him in that offense, running routes up top. So he will be missed. But the good news is the Geyer Wildcats have a big stable of talented players, and they can step in. And we've seen it for many years here at Denton Geyer. They just happen to stand up and stand in when they need to make an impact on all three phases of the game. Well, Coach, Coppell comes into C.H. Collins after putting 51 points up on Flower Mound. Jason Inwoo had a huge night last Friday, 31 carries for, check this out, and I'm sure you already know this, 263 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's going to be a big load. I'm sure Coppell is going to go with that rushing attack and just challenge you up front and defensively to stop him. What's going to be the answer?
Well, we have to play sound. I think the answer every week defensively is it's just being sound in your alignment, sound in your assignment, and being great tacklers. And so the thing with Coppell is, in addition to having an elite running back, they've got a couple of talented wideouts that they can throw the ball vertical to. So you can't just say, well, we're just going to load the box and throw caution to the wind with a passing game, because their quarterback has got extremely high completion percentage. And again, they got a couple receivers that can beat you down the field. So we're just going to have to play sound, fundamental defense. They're going to sling it down the field and make a few plays, but we hope to just minimize, those big plays on Saturday afternoon.
Well, Coach, Coppell comes into this one 6-3, 4-2 in District 6A. Playing some pretty good ball. The Coppell Cowboys are known to always have some talented teams. For the Wildcats, offensively, you get most everybody back healthy Saturday. You've had an extra week to prepare. Anything special as a head coach that you save for the postseason that you don't necessarily tip your hat to during the regular season with regard to offensive schemes or any new plays you might weave in?
John, we're really focused on just doing what we do and doing it better. And the things that, as the season progresses, the things that we've gotten good at, we want to lean on those things in every playoff game. But at the same time, sort of answer your question, there are always a few things like that you work throughout the season, a few things that you add near the end of the season or come playoff time that because in the playoffs, it's you lose and you go home. So when you have to have a play, when it comes down to it and you got to be able to pull something out of the bag, you want to have something down in that bag to be able to draw from. And so, for us, we're going to have 3 or 4 wrinkles, things that we don't necessarily want to use until we need them. But when we need them, it's sure good to have.
Well, Coach Webb, being a Saturday afternoon game, 1 p.m. kick, we should see one of the largest crowds we've had just all season long. A lot of the younger kids and families will be at C.H. Collins, and Coppell will probably bring a big contingent as well. Will that make a difference for either team in this matchup as we get back to some normalcy?
Yeah, I mean, I am not a huge fan of the higher seed getting the first round home game. My experience has been that a lot of times a first round home game feels like a non-district game. There's something about going to that neutral site, even if it's not AT&T Stadium or the Star, even if it's another high school stadium. There's something about getting out and going to that first round playoff game. But I do think that like a Saturday afternoon feels like playoff football. So I think for our crowd and our team, it's going to be pretty easy to get hyped up for this one because it's daytime football, and daytime football 99% of the time means playoffs. And I think you even look back at the Little Elm game, last regular season game being played on the Friday after Thanksgiving, even though that was a meaningless district game that had no bearing on playoffs or seeding, it felt like a playoff game to our kids. So I'm excited for that.
Well, Coach, you've got a tremendous track record in the postseason. And kind of for our lighthearted question, let's take a trip back memory lane. Any special as we head into a playoff week? I know there's a lot of schools that have a lot of traditions and different things. Some schools, the kids dye their hair blonde, do different things. Any special memories you have, even back when you were an assistant coach or when you started your head coaching career path, that really jump out? Anything that you can share with the audience that maybe they don't know about Coach Rodney Webb?
Well, a lot of things come to mind. I think for me, the most special, if we're talking by-district week, first round of the playoffs, the most special memories that I have of the first round were my second year in Royce City. We won, as a matter of fact, we won a playoff game at Lake Dallas. We played Kennedale, and that was Royce City's first playoff win in several years. And then my first year at Horn, we won our first playoff game ever in the history of the school. And then my first year at Rockwall, we won our by-district game, the first playoff game they'd won in 22 years. And in each one of those cases, that first playoff win was so special, for the fans, for the players. And, in most of those cases, at Royce City, we had a really good team. But at Horn and Rockwall, my first year, we weren't great. But we were good enough to win a playoff game, and just the excitement on the part of the kids, the excitement on the part of the coaches and fans, just to win a playoff game and just the celebration that ensued, I think was really cool. So when I think back about playoff football, it wasn't necessarily the biggest games that we won, but it was those by-district games that kind of got us on the roll. That's what I think of.
That's exactly why coaches coach. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And those are the, so often, and I was just telling my wife at dinner the other night, during playoff season, head coaches are miserable about 99% of the time. We're just miserable. But it's that 1%. It's that moment after a win and maybe the 2 hours after a playoff win. It's that euphoria that you just live off of. And then, you go right back to the grindstone, getting ready for the next opponent. But it's those moments, that post game, the evening after the win, those are the most special times for sure.
Yeah, getting those texts from former players, other coaches around the state, it's always an awesome situation. Well, Coach, if the crew's talking post game about the keys to victory and another Gar win, what will it take Saturday afternoon to beat a talented Coppell team?
Well, it's going to be in our best interest to limit our turnovers, win the turnover battle. We're plus 12 for the season in turnovers. It's been a big part of our success. That's going to be really important. Our ability on offense to take care of the football, I think we're going to be able to score points as long as we're not turning it over and giving it away to them. I think that's going to be really important. And then I think explosive plays. We've got to keep the running back bottled up, and we've got to keep the two wideouts from getting behind us. If we can do that, I think we got a really good chance to win.
Well, Coach, a big stat that really jumps out for us is rushing. Obviously, your quarterback, Eli Stowers, has really been stepping it up on the ground, but averaging almost 265 yards a game. Boy, if you can do that Saturday afternoon, I think the odds really align well for the Gar Wildcats for victory.
Yeah, and that's a big part of the plan for us. As always, we want to be balanced, but getting Knox Boyd back on the field this week is going to be a big benefit to us. We want to be able to control the line of scrimmage and run the football when we need to, for sure.
That will do it for this edition of the Coach Rodney Webb Show. You can log into patreon.com/GFN to become a patron of Gar Football Radio and support this postseason. Coach Webb, best wishes to you and the team Saturday afternoon at home at C.H. Collins.
Thanks a lot, John.